Welcome back to another FPL video, guys. Double Game Week 34 is finally here. In this video, we're going to be talking about my free hit team for the Double Game Week, a review of Game Week 33, as well as how to navigate the Double Game Week if you don't have your free hit or your wildcard chip available to you. So let's get right into it. Ahead of Game Week 33, I had Dubravka in goal. Didn't really have much choices there. Ariola was deemed not fit enough to start or be included in the squad ahead of the game week. He returned 6 points for me. Was really pleased to get that much points from him, seeing as I didn't really expect much from him. Like I said in my previous video ahead of the game week, Spurs had scored in 31 out of their last 32 games in the Premier League. Was just expecting, save points from him. He did return 6 points. Really excited for that. Gusto, clean sheets, Regulion clean sheets with some bonus points. He has been an asset that I've enjoyed having over the last 2 weeks since I got him. He seems to always be on the bonus points system for Brentford, whether or not he gets an attacking return. Had Salah in my midfield, Saka, really disappointing to get just 2 points from them. They could have gotten more. Salah hasn't really found his goal scoring boots. Same with Saka, although he could have gotten an assist in the game against Villa. Sad that they just returned 2 points. Garnacho had an assist in the first half at the game at Bournemouth. Was expecting to see more from him in the second half. He did get subbed before the second half. Didn't get 60 minutes points. Son got subbed. Has really been on a run of poor form. Hasn't returned in over 2 game weeks. He was subbed before 60 minutes mark. Wasn't really sure if that was an injury concern or just tactical substitution due to how the game was going at Newcastle. Really pleased with Cole Palmer's return on Monday night. Didn't expect it to be so much. If you watched my previous video, you would see that I recommended him as a differential captain going into game week 33. So kudos to you if you captain him ahead of the game week 33 deadline. Please let me know in the comment section what your total points was for your FPL team if you did captain him ahead of game week 33. Haaland was my captain going into game week 33. Was expecting more from him. He had an XG of over 1.01 in the game. He did return a goal and an assist. Should have been more, but really happy with the 20 points he returned for me as captain. I had Tony in my starting lineup going into the game. He was deemed not fit enough to start due to illness. Muniz came in for him with 2 points. Total points tally for game week 33, 77 points. Really good game week so far. Got a green arrow and I'm going to take it. Let's hope that with the double game week 34 coming and my free hit team, we will be able to move up from there. A lot of positives to take from this game week 33 and, expecting to go up from here. Now, we're going to be looking at my game week 34 free hit team selection. So in goal, I'm going to be going with Neto of Bournemouth. He's currently ranked 5th amongst goalkeepers for FPL this season. He has racked up 107 points so far this season. Between game week 19 and game week 33, he has accumulated 49 points, averaging at least 3.5 points per game week. He has also made 43 saves within that period of time. I'm not really expecting him to keep clean sheets in any of the games, but I'm backing him for potential points returned from saves in that game. Now, for my backline, I'm also going to be having Tyreek Mitchell of Crystal Palace just because of his new found position for Crystal Palace. He's been playing as an attacking left wing back. We saw him get a goal or rather an assist and a clean sheet in his game against Liverpool over the weekend. He combines very well with Eze on the left side, and I think he is also nailed for minutes in that Crystal Palace backline. I feel like he can get a lot of returns in these 2 game weeks, even if we're not going to be seeing a lot of clean sheets in either of the games. But we've seen that Crystal Palace and West Ham are a high scoring game, a high scoring fixture from previous meetings, and Newcastle, despite their recent form, aren't so good away from home. So we should be expecting some attacking returns from Tyreek Mitchell. His ownership is also below 4% currently. I feel like he can be a very good differential going into the double game week. Now, my second defender, I'm going to be going with Andy Robertson of Liverpool. He, I feel, is the second most nailed defensive asset for Liverpool. They've been knocked out of the Europa League, as we saw yesterday. He has the capacity to actually play the 2 games, even if he's not going to be giving us 180 minutes across 2 game weeks. I believe that he should give us, even if it's 70 minutes across both game weeks. We've seen him get some incredible returns against Everton, which is the second team he's going to be playing. We're not really expecting to see clean sheets from that game as well, but if anybody is going to be able to return from Liverpool's defense, I would want to bank on Robertson in my team ahead of double game week 34. Now, my third defender is going to be Gabriel. He's up there for most attacking returns amongst defenders this season. We've seen him when Arsenal play from the set pieces. They are the best team currently from set pieces in the Premier League. I want to back him. He's going away to Wolves and at home to Chelsea. He can get possible returns from both games. Of course, he has scored against Wolves in previous meetings as well as Chelsea. I know that many Arsenal fans will remember that game. He scored the only goal of the game that saw them clinch a 1-0 victory in their last meeting with Chelsea last season. Now, in my midfield, I'm going to be going with double up on Arsenal assets, which you see my triple up on Arsenal midfield, or rather Arsenal assets complete. I'm going to be going with Saka and Martin Odegaard. Now, Saka hasn't really found his scoring form in recent weeks. The last time he returned was a 10-point haul against Brighton the week before game week 33. But now Arsenal have been locked out of the Champions League. We expect them to fully focus on the Premier League to try to win it. Now, we know that Saka is fixed on penalty duties. How many minutes he's going to get across two games, we are not sure due to the fatigue and all of that, but we can expect to see him feature for at least 120 minutes across both games. He has a decent record against Wolves. He scored against them in their first leg this season, and he also had an assist against Chelsea in the first leg that saw them draw a 2-2 in their game. Now, I'm going with Odegaard. He's also going to be one of my differentials in my team ahead of game week 34. He is owned by less than 20% of FPL managers currently. He also has a really, really decent record this season. He has gotten a few goal involvements against Wolves. I think 3 goals against Wolves in previous meetings and 2 goals and an assist against Chelsea in previous meetings. He's also up there for expected assists in the Arsenal team, and he's nailed on minutes in the Arsenal squad. So I'm going to be looking to Martin Odegaard to complete my triple up on Arsenal assets going into double game week 34. I'm going to be going with Olise ahead of Eze for my Crystal Palace midfield assets. The reason is quite simple. Olise currently is owned by less than 1% of FPL managers, and I believe that he has the potential for an explosive haul this season in this double game with 34. West Ham, we have seen that the West Ham and Crystal Palace game is a high conceding and high scoring game for both teams. I expect Olise to get potential return, although there are a few concerns on his expected minutes in the game, but I do believe that he should be able to return a few assists or goals in the game against West Ham or Newcastle. They're going to be both home games. I do expect some returns from him ahead of the double game week. My last player on my free hits double game week 34 team in my midfield is going to be Mohamed Salah. Yes, we haven't really seen Mohamed Salah find his scoring boots in recent weeks. He did miss a few chances in his last game against Crystal Palace over the weekend. He did score a penalty yesterday in the Europa League game. He missed a one-on-one chance to have scored and gotten 2 goals out of the game. Now, Liverpool are out of all competitions. They as well just have the Premier League to focus on. I do believe that Salah will find his scoring shoes. Liverpool have to bounce back one way or another, and he's going to be one of the top captain pick options this week. He has a really decent record against both teams he's going to be playing against. He has about 8 goal involvements against Everton and 4 goals involvement against Fulham. I will be looking to have him in my free hit double game week 34 team ahead of the deadline. Now in attack, I'm going to be having Erling Haaland, Matheus Cunha, and Dominic Solanke. Now, currently, I'm not fixed on the attacking lineup, especially for Haaland and Cunha. Haaland, because we saw him limp off against Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals over midweek fixtures. But we have received news that he's probably going to be okay. We saw him during the team talk before the penalty shootout. He was walking and he was just fine. I will wait for press conferences, although we might not get them, seeing that the game is going to be next week. It's going to be a midweek fixture, but if I am not settled on whether or not to have him in my team, I'm probably going to be bringing in another single game week player, being Watkins. Now, I know it seems unorthodox to have a single game week player on my free hit team, but I do believe that there is a potential for some of the single game week players that are going to be playing this week to bring in more point hauls than even the double game week players playing this week. We've seen it happen so many times already just this season. I am going to be backing Watkins against Bournemouth this season. We saw him get a goal and two assists in his last three meetings against them. I do back him to continue this top run of form. He is chasing the golden boots currently. I do see him getting some point return. They're playing at home at Villa Park, where we've seen that he likes to get a lot of goals. I am backing him in my team if I am not fixed on leaving Erling Haaland in my team. Matheus Cunha is another one that is going to be in my lineup ahead of the game week. He scored in his two meetings against Arsenal and Bournemouth already this season. He had a goal against Arsenal. He had a goal against Bournemouth. He just got back to the starting lineup last week with two goals, with some bonus points as well. I will be backing him. He's fixed on minutes. He's fixed on the penalties. I do believe that he will be able to get something out of the game week in 34. Now, finally, I'm going with Dominic Solanke. He scored against Villa and Wolves this season already. His last double figure haul as well came in game week 25, but he is nailed on minutes. He's on penalty kicks, and I do think the talisman for the Cherries will be looking to find the back of the net in one of these fixtures this particular game week. Now, on my bench, I'm going to have Nuri. I'm going to have Diogo Jota, and I'm going to be completing my bench with Pickford and Senesi of Bournemouth. Now, for captaincy options this week, I think it's going to be a pretty obvious captain option or captain pick this week. We're going to be looking at Mohamed Salah. He's going to be the popular captain option this week, as we all know. My captain armband is going to be on Mohamed Salah. Like I said earlier in the video, he has really good record against the two teams he's going to be playing against. We do hope that he can find his scoring boots against these two teams. Now that they don't have any other competition that they are participating in, we hope that he can focus all his energy on the Premier League and give us some points return in this free hit double game week 34. My vice captain is going to be on Saka, and basically this is going to be my approach to the double game week. Unless, of course, we hear some news and updates on certain players ahead of the double game week 34 from manager press conferences. This is how my team is looking ahead of the double game week. Now, I'm going to be leaving my comment section open. If you have any questions about your team or how to go about your team selection on a free hit or wildcard, please leave them in the comment section. Now, if you don't have your free hit chip or your wildcard chip and you're looking to navigate the double game week 34, I do believe that most FPL managers currently should have at least 3 to 4 premium players, and you should have been expecting this double game week 34, seeing that it was announced about 2-3 weeks ago. So I expect that most FPL managers should have made a few transfers to enable them get at least about 4 or 5 premium players that are going to be featuring in this double game week 34. I do believe that if you have at least 5 to 6 players in your current FPL team, it is good to go ahead of the double game week 34. We have seen previously this season, like I said earlier in the video, where so many game weeks, so many players, we brought them in, they haven't turned up in these games in the double game week, and we've seen single game week players outhaul double game week players. So there are still a lot of single game week players that have good fixtures. We have Bruno Fernandes playing Sheffield United. We have Garnacho playing Sheffield United. We have Watkins playing against Bournemouth. We have Erling Haaland playing against Brighton, Foden against Brighton, Kevin De Bruyne against Brighton. These are all players with good fixtures. So if you have any of these players that are playing decent fixtures, not part of the double game week, I do believe that you should keep them and focus on trying to maximize the use of the players you already have ahead of the double game week. Now, for players like Son, Pedro Porro, and Tottenham assets that you may have in your team, I do advise that you should bench them instead of selling them to enable yourself save the transfer for game week 35 instead of using that same transfer to try to bring them back in ahead of the double that Spurs and Chelsea assets are going to be having in Double Game Week 35. Now, if you have any comments or questions about your team, please, like I said, leave them in the comment section. I will do well to get to them as soon as I can. Please like if you've enjoyed this video, subscribe, share, and see you guys in my next FPL video.